I don't understand the point of being a legitimate playoff team and firing your coach before the playoffs. That makes no sense to me. One thing I've learned about the NBA that I've been saying, the one thing that makes sense is nothing making sense to us.
With 3 days left in the season, the Denver Nuggets have made, honestly, the only other move that could have been bigger is them trading Jokic. They fire head coach Mike Malone and they fire Calvin Booth. Mike Malone first, Calvin Booth second. I think what really happened is they sent the text out to Shams and he was like, oh, I got to go with this one. And then they was like, wait. We getting that other out of here too. I ain't gonna lie. Immediate reactions. Where were you?
I was in bed halfway sleep and then Twitter just starts going crazy. You know, I got everybody's Twitter notice on. So the first thing I see is y'all's reactions. So when I see y'all react to something, I'm like, oh, well, what's going on? Now look, Mike Malone fired. And like a tweet or two later, Calvin Booth is gone as well. Dumbest decisions ever. I don't understand the point of being a legitimate playoff team and firing your coach before the playoffs. That makes no sense to me. But y'all know who I blame. Because I don't blame Jokic. I don't blame, any of the good players. Y'all know who I'm blaming. The man that always seems to get a coach fired. The man that always seems to end dynasties or end good teams. I'm talking Mr. Rock, the baby himself. Matter of fact, where's his jersey at? I got it somewhere. Is it downstairs?
Russ did a sweep, Damo. Russ did a sweep.
Man. If it's one man that's going to end the joy, it's that man Westbrook. Come on.
I was in the meeting, man. Shocked. Not Mike. Mike Malone? What? Yeah, I was surprised. I can't even say I wasn't. Did not expect this.
Looking at Marquez Brownlee. I wanna take it from, Mike Malone's record as a coach, for the Denver Nuggets. Obviously goes without saying, won a ring. 471, 327 record. We're talking about a 59% winning percentage, close to 60%. It's 10 seasons. I don't know. What more could you ask for? 60% from a coach.
Just won a championship 2 years ago, by the way. Was one game away from a Western Conference Finals last year. I don't know. I think for me, it's the main thing I'm questioning is just like, what's the direction now?
That's better than Spo, by the way. Just to let y'all know.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, what's the direction now? Like, I'm assuming y'all are still gonna build around Jokic, and if y'all not, that's a bigger surprise than firing Mike Malone. And if that's the case, y'all know my stance. Whenever a coach gets fired, you can fire a coach, but you have to think about who's gonna replace that coach. And out of everyone that's in the market right now, JJ Redick's flying around. Is there? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that might be I'm not gonna lie. That might be the thing. Everyone might be looking for the next JJ Redick. They might be looking for their JJ. So don't be surprised if coach with no experience, but is super tapped in with basketball, knowledgeable about basketball, gets the hire.
No, what you mean? He coached in Brooklyn before.
I'm not talking about Steve Nash. I'm saying just a coach in general that's unknown, that knows high IQ basketball. Now, I guess I can see it on your face now. You're running with whoever it is on the podcast with LeBron, they're getting the coaching job. I'm guessing that's where you're going.
And let me say this. Kevin Durant moves around this summer. Wherever he lands, Steve Nash is gone. He's the new coach. Rondo sits in that seat. Rondo's the next head coach of that one. If LeBron can get, LeBron got one job. If LeBron can get 2 jobs, 1,000% better than Michael. If he can get 3, I don't know what to tell you. No, yeah, like Biso said, I mean, game away from the Western Conference Finals appearance. I mean, I didn't think that they were doing anything wrong this season per se. They had some injuries. I want to look at what they are in the West real quick to really make it make sense.
A very close West, by the way.
Yeah. Third in points. Now they are 25th in defense. So, but I don't, it is what it is. They are 4th in the Western Conference. They also said this is the latest coach firing in NBA history since Hubie Brown in 83 or some shit like that. Some long time ago. And I maybe the squad is underperforming defensively. I guess I don't think that maybe the little that I do know about this, I don't think that I see a bunch of defensive juggernauts on this team to say that they should be performing any better.
How bad was it so that they had to fire him? No, I'm just saying 3 games before the playoffs. You couldn't even play out the playoffs before firing him. That just sounds crazy to me.
That's what I'm saying. I will understand if this was a team that severely underachieved. If anything, I thought they would have been worse than this going into this season.
Yeah.
Like with the people that they lost, picking up Westbrook, I thought they would have been a lot worse by the end. I wouldn't have thought they were a 4th seed. So for them to get fired right before again, it makes no sense. But one thing I've learned about the NBA that I've been saying, the one thing that makes sense is nothing making sense to us.
Well, even I think it makes it worse because, like we're saying now, I mean, this is a consistent team. We were applauding last year. Remember when the Pistons were going through coaching changes, the Bucks were going through coaching changes. This was a team that I know I did, and I'm pretty sure everybody agreed with me. But I'm saying I brought up to say, look at what happens when you stay consistent through early Jokic, Nurkic years, trying to figure it out, and then continuing down the path. It results in a championship because consistency matters. But somehow, which I don't know how this is possible, there's a lot of stuff that I don't believe in this. Only time will tell. I see it in the chat. He lost the locker room. That's the only way that at the end of the season like this, that's the only way something would happen. Somebody would have to punch somebody's mom, kick a baby, some stuff like that. But apparently he had lost the locker room in the conversation. I do want to bring up some of Jokic's comments. And this is the blackest pot calling the blackest kettle black. Nikola Jokic has reportedly been frustrated with the Nuggets' defensive performance this season. League sources there had been significant frustrations within the locker room at how Nuggets were playing, particularly defensively. The Nuggets were just 20th in defensive rating. Jokic has been frustrated with the team's defensive commitment and performance.
Jokic was?
Nikola Jokic.
What the fuck? Okay.
But yeah. No, nothing.
I mean,
I don't know how to react to that. Jokic calling out motherfuckers for defense is crazy. It makes sense because that's not his job. So obviously niggas ain't doing their job. The comment about him losing the locker room,
know what he's looking at, right? You probably don't even know what a good or bad.
He really don't. He's just something ain't working.
Yeah, something not right.
Y'all not stopping niggas. I assume that's how I went in the locker room. Y'all not stopping niggas. Stop them.
Hey, let me add, because did you see those defensive plays? People were calling out defensive plays, late game situations where like they were rotating bad and all this other stuff. I'm gonna pull up a play because I ain't gonna lie, Jokic is that nigga's a bitch.
And the one thing I found funny, not like very recently, a clip came out during a game of Peyton Watson and Aaron Gordon, two of their best defenders, by the way, fighting on the bench, like getting into a heated disagreement, and Jokic had to calm Peyton Watson down. I assume he was the reason they were fighting.
And you know what they'll say? Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and Draymond. That happens all the time.
It's normal. We brothers.
Yeah, don't read into that. That happens all the time. And then
years later, when they're retired on the podcast, niggas get to talking about their teammates, how Kenyon Martin talks about his. He's a bitch ass nigga. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, cool teammate, bitch ass nigga person. Like that shit's crazy. What a brotherhood.
Not even that long. Niggas get fired 3 games left in the season.
You know what's crazy? I'm honestly not surprised of Calvin Booth specifically being fired. Yeah, but Mike Malone, what? I don't know. This is confusing.
So Bezos brings up Calvin Booth. I want to read off because this is, people claim Calvin Booth is pretty bad at his job. I've got a summary of what Calvin Booth has done with his tenure on the Denver Nuggets. This is from Reddit Nuggets. Summary of Calvin Booth's transactions since KCP and Bruce Brown. The signings at them too. Here's a rundown of every notable transaction Booth has made since signing KCP and Bruce Brown in July 22. I'm sure I've missed a couple second rounders sent back in multi-team trades, blah, blah, blah. Traded Bones Highland and 2 second rounders for Thomas Bryant in February 2023. Not a bad one. Nuggets win championship. Traded 29 first round picks to rights to Maxwell Lewis for draft and rights to Maxwell Lewis for draft rights to Julian Strother, Hunter Tyson, and Jalen Pickett. Allow Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Thomas Bryant to become unrestricted free agents and sign somewhere else. Offered Reggie Jackson that contract. Extended Zeke Naji for a contract. Traded rights to Ryan Dunn, the 28th pick, and 3 second rounders for draft rights to Deron Holmes. Allow KCP and Justin Holiday to become undrafted free agents and signed elsewhere. Traded 3 second rounders and Reggie Jackson for cash considerations. Offers Dario Saric 2 years. Offers Russell Westbrook 2 years. Extends Jamal Murray. Summaries, the outs, the extensions, the ends. I don't think this is crazy.
There are definitely crazy moves here. I don't know. I can't speak
Oh,
for
now,
you, but there are super crazy moves.
Totality, Damo. Dario and Russ is insane, right?
Dario and Russ is insane.
It's a good or bad thing. I don't. What are you saying?
Those are bad. Those are bad.
are.
The Dario one I'm not too mad
no.
at, but bad signings. I think from the very start, trading Bones was a bad idea. I said that when they traded him. I know people don't care about Bones Highland, whatever it is, but he was showing promise and was just, from his words at the time and how other players talked about him, they just didn't give him a shot. They bowled him. So he was gone. The draft trades, not gonna lie, passing up on Ryan Dunn was freaking dumb, seeing how you were a team that needed defenders. This past draft. Ryan Dunn was considered one of the better defenders, perimeter defenders in the draft, and you pass up on him for another big who's not gonna play. That's weird to me. So, and Ryan Dunn became a great shooter, well, a good shooter, way better than he was in college. He would have been someone that really helped them this season versus Russ minutes. So that was crazy. And the Julian Straw, I mean, I'm not too mad about Jalen Pickett. Bruce Brown and them walking had to happen. The Reggie Jackson signing was bad. Extending Zeke Naji, I'm not too mad about that. Obviously letting KCP walk was bad. But then the Jamal Murray money was dumb. I ain't gonna lie. I think paying him that much money is crazy. I get it. You got a player of that caliber. How often do you get that? But at the same time, giving him all-star money when he's not an all-star is insane.
I do want to point out, can y'all see this Max Spiro tweet right here? Booth can't be held accountable for Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and probably KCP leaving, deliberately misleading. The rest since the title is fair and disastrous. I mean, once that new apron and stuff, that's why I feel like all this is a little bit unfair. New apron came in, let a dude figure out how to navigate in this space. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair. To put on my tinfoil hat, just for a quick second.
Wait, are we there yet for the
what?
The in California team? Is that what we're talking about?
Kind of, sort of, maybe. I don't know. Listen, tinfoil hats. If this creates a domino effect of Nikola Jokic being traded, don't do that. I'm just saying, man. Goes back to the Luka trade. Damo knows my theory. Once them rating conversations started happening, it seemed like a red button was pushed. You see what I'm saying?
I didn't want you to shoot the low just yet because there is a little bit more about Calvin Booth. That's why
I can say it again.
Okay.
I can say it again.
The real word on the curb is that, and this also probably doesn't make a lot of sense to people. Calvin Booth and Mike Malone hated each other.
Damn. I did hear they had creative differences about how to manage minutes and the team.
About Russ specifically? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, not specifically Russ, but Russ definitely is the spearhead of it. I don't know if Omar was going to read the shit on Twitter about it, but apparently Calvin Booth wanted to go, get young players in there, get them developed, play those guys. And Mike Malone was on the opposite end. Let's play vets. We're going to play the veterans we got, try to compete that way. So that led to Russ minutes over Jalen Pickett minutes. That led to, just vet minutes over young guy minutes in situations.
And maybe that would make Calvin Booth's moves look a little bit better in the light if, he had the ability to play those people. What I was going to say is this is reports from Kevin O'Connor. Calvin Booth and Mike Malone never liked each other, rarely spoke, and talked behind each other's backs.
Oh yeah, if it was a toxic relationship, then I kind of get this move. I ain't gonna lie. If it got so toxic that team couldn't even operate damn near. I don't know.
But you fire both?
Yeah.
And on top of that,
y'all acting like children. Fuck out my team.
I mean, acting like children got them a championship.
You want me to give you a little bit more? Calvin Booth hired a shooting coach named Mike Penberthy and wanted to rebuild the Nuggets organizationally. Mike Malone initially responded saying, "No, that's a coach. I hire coaches." And And
Nigga, did you have a shooting coach? I'm sorry, was there a shooting coach? Because if there was no shooting coach and he brought one in, that just seemed like a dick move on Mike Malone. Like, you just trying to swing your nuts at that point. Now, if Mike Malone had a shooting coach and this nigga Calvin just hired one because he didn't like Mike's, all right, now we're getting nasty.
Yeah, it sounds like to me like the work environment got too toxic. That's what it sounds like to me.
I just think at the end of the day,
and y'all ain't winning.
The 3 games, I don't know. Another one, Michael Malone likely would have been fired back in 23 had they not won due to the conflict between him and Calvin Booth. So this was supposed to happen. They just so happened to win.
Okay.
Bought itself some more time.
And then they go out a game before the Western Conference Finals. So then it kind of sets back the clock. And then you have this year with whatever happens. Makes sense why they both got fired.
And then there was another opportunity in 24 back in October where Mike Malone was supposed to fire him as well. Never pulled that trigger. And now we're down the line and both of them lose their jobs because management is just tired of both of them. It's a lot with both of them. I mean, if you just read through the Twitter, the history and the story between Mike Malone and Calvin Booth just sounds toxic from like day one.
Yeah, this makes more sense now. This also confirms my theory that just because you win a championship does not mean your organization is ran well, or just the concept of like winning in general. Doesn't mean your organization is ran well. I think the Nuggets right now are a clear example of that. I think the Warriors in 22 was a clear example of that. Curry just fucking carried y'all, but looking back at all the moves, y'all fumbled on a lot of different things. Maybe the Bucks, probably the Bucks, right?
Absolutely the Bucks. Absolutely.
I would say the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks.
So not the Celtics though, but
not the Lakers.